Bonjour, welcome to the Panavox channel. I'm Eric.
And I am Mike.
And I'm Joe. And why did we say bonjour? Because today we're going to be talking about the French Canadian uh, musical act, band, duo. I'm not sure what descriptor we should use, but they're called Angine de Poitrine, which
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
I hope I said that right in French. I'm sure some French listener, if you are on here and you're like, your pronunciation is incorrect. Okay, I accept that. I just did my
Don't let
best.
us know, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
just let us know. But I tried. Okay, so it means angina pectoris. It's a Latin term in English, which is a medical term meaning that the tightness you feel in your chest before a heart attack comes. Uh,
I'm coming, sorry, buddy.
yep. Yeah. So maybe after you hear them, you feel like you're about to have a heart attack. There could be some truth to that, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of Spinal Tap. You remember the incredible group Spinal Tap? Named themselves after I guess a medical procedure. This is a medical condition, but you get the idea.
Yeah. There was
Uh,
also that band Autopsy, too.
oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, there's plenty of them out there.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
we can use
we
medical.
could go on and on with that theme, I'm
Let's
sure.
not, though. Let's not.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
we'll
dope.
move
That's
on.
dope.
So we have an image here of Angine de Poitrine, the two guys. Guys, I assume they're male. Maybe they're
Male.
female. We
Yeah.
don't actually know the gender, do we? I mean we don't, right?
Great mystery, but I'm calling female.
Okay, all right. Maybe one or both are female. Could be mixed gender. Could be, you
Could
know.
be. My money's on both females, though.
Okay, or it
I
could be.
I heard
Yeah.
them talk though. They don't sound like females.
Oh,
Really?
okay. Well, their names, their stage names at least, their legal names we don't know because they don't wish to reveal them, but their stage names are I think it's Kunt de Poitrine, and Kunt is spelled Khn. There's no vowel in there. That's a little hard. And the other one is Clec de Poitrine. Now, I don't know which one is the drummer and which one is the guitarist slash bassist.
Click or clique, however it's said, is the drummer.
Clec or Cleek is the drummer, and Kant
Yes.
is the stringed instrument artist.
Right.
Now, yeah, so their setup is unusual. In terms, well, I mean, I don't know. Would one of you guys, Mike, Eric, would you kind of describe their setup? What's involved here?
Polka dots,
Mm.
lots of polka dots. Um, and they've got some really strange headgear going on there. One has like a papal sort of polka dotted papal hat, that's sort of exaggerated, and the other one I think kind of has like more of a bondage mask looking thing on, but it does have polka dots. And the clothes are kind of synchronized with polka dots. And I noticed that even the stringed instrument player has polka dots painted on his or her feet.
Bare
So I
feet.
mean, it's the whole package, right? It's
Yeah.
lots of polka dots.
Yeah. And in verse coloring, so that one is black with white polka dots, the other is white with black polka dots, right?
Yes, yes, yes. That's a very astute observation there.
Wow, yeah. I
Yeah,
didn't realize that till you said it.
and one of them has a really big, long nose,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Right,
really,
right.
really long, man, really long.
And hair that looks like braided rope.
Yeah, it
Is it
does. You're
is it
right.
hair or rope?
It. Who knows? Who knows? It's we don't know. how to pronounce this band's name, how to pronounce the member's name, or what they make their hair out of. I mean, so that's like, who's not going to love a band like that, right?
They're very mysterious, and I just think here's my weird observation about the drummer's face or constructed face. I think he looks like Bert from Bert and Ernie on Sesame Street, except he's completely black, with the white
Yeah,
dots. It's like a Bert face.
yeah, it's like polka dotted blackbird.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
Bert.
yeah. And he also looks kind of like the executioner Bert too, right?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Bert the executioner. He had to get that puppet off of Sesame Street pretty early on because he like really destroyed the whole vibe of the rest of the series.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's very how you say the absurd. But they look fabulous, and you can't tell who they are, and their identities are completely hidden. And I just love them to death.
Well, let's talk about their setup in terms of musical instruments, and so we what is it Khan? What does Khan play? It's a double neck guitar, but isn't
Yeah,
it like a bass on one
bass and a
part and a
guitar. Yeah, yeah, and
Mhm.
that person also has obviously a lot of pedals and stuff and stuff to make loops. Because there's a lot of times when you're hearing a bass and he or he is playing the guitar, or you hear a guitar and she or he is playing bass, because there's already like some riff or loop or something that's been fed into the machine, and she or he plays over it. Uh, we
Yeah.
don't even know what gender they are. This is getting so mysterious.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so it's like a double neck bass guitar setup, lots of effects and pedals to generate loops and whatnot, and then of course I guess it's your standard drum kit. I didn't really get that good of a look at it.
But let's talk about the
Yeah.
guitar. And yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Eric.
I was gonna say I would just there's so much hype around this band right now. I would I'm almost tempted to say that this band is just, they're just like a bunch of hype. But I
Love how
watched
love me some like
Rick Viano's video and saw a couple little clips of them actually playing, and I have to say these guys are really good musicians. They're like at a level like way higher than I ever was. It's like
yeah,
they
because
are.
this stuff
This
isn't
is like,
improvised, obviously, because it's so
No.
synchronized between the two of them. I mean,
Yeah.
they
yeah,
had to like write this stuff, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's so I've listened to it a few times, both albums, and I don't think there's a single stray or improvised note there. I think the whole thing is completely choreographed
hmm
and also rigorously rehearsed. It's kind of like I was saying earlier that it reminded me a lot of Captain Beefheart because like when you first hear, for example, Trout Mask Replica, it sounds like these guys just kind of, it's just kind of made it up as they went, just this great big
Yeah,
But
tangled
then
train wreck
again,
of a
they were
mess.
very synchronized and thought out and planned out with that. I mean,
Yep.
yeah.
they
Hmm.
played that album live in the studio when it was recorded. So,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
No, it's an illusion. You think it's a big mess, but you got to hear it again, and then like again with Trout Mask Replica, you hear it again, and you're like, oh, all that is definitely deliberate. And same thing
Yeah,
here.
if you watch live videos of Captain Beefheart playing those songs off of Trout Mask Replica, they play them exactly the same as they are on the album. It's like there's like nothing different about them. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
so
it's kind of.
that kind of shows that everything on the album was just very carefully composed and just learned very meticulously with like very little improvisation, you know.
For real, for real. Yep. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the microtonality of the microtones on the. Okay, yeah, Mike, go ahead.
Can you explain to me what microtonality is, please?
Oh yeah, sure. That would be helpful to explain that. So traditional guitar, you just have standard frets. Standard frets give you half steps. So, the usual, what is it, E to F
Mhm.
to G flat to G,
Mhm.
etc. But what microtones do is they give you that space between the frets. So and you do that
Like
with a
the
traditional
flat side
guitar.
of the note or the sharp side of the note.
Yeah, when it's
Yeah.
not like so if you have a traditional electric guitar, for example, you can bend the string to kind of get it somewhere between where you are and the
Mhm.
next note, or you can
Right.
use the whammy bar to bring it down a little bit or
Mhm.
whatever. You can already play around with microtonalities, the spaces between the frets, with the traditional guitar. But what a microtonal guitar, which is what Kuhn has in Angine de Poitrine, is a guitar that where the fret spaces in some places are cut in half. So in other words, where you would normally have this space between a fret, you've got three frets instead of two. So you can hit this space here and this space
What?
here. So in other words, you instead of just playing this space here to do dude like that, you could go ner, ner. You could play two notes within that one note, and it would sound a little bit out of tune in each one, but it would be one going up a little higher to the other one. Yeah.
I
I
did
think
more
it's
of this band, more I learned about this band, just the more confused and obsessed I get.
Well,
I
so
think I think the microtonality is based on like a 24 note scale instead of the traditional 12 note music scale.
but
It's
it
like
gets
if you find like the halfway point between every note on the scale, it's like you're adding a whole bunch of notes
yeah.
just by yeah, just basically what Joe said.
That is
Like the
crazy
frets,
talk.
it is crazy talk, and that's kind of what I loved about old school rap music, like in the late '80s and kind of that like the early '90s. They would use these weird samples and
Oh
stuff,
yeah,
and sometimes the samples would be like slightly out of tune and not
or
really in
slowed
tune.
down a little, or so that it was a
Yeah,
little off kilter or something.
and yeah, and it would add like this kind of like eeriness to the music.
Hmm.
And I think that old school rap, where they were kind of getting into like the 24 tone, like microtonality side of things, you know.
Not only is
And
that
that's part of what,
a really cool observation, but you could really blow some minds with that if you laid it on people, which I guess you're doing now. But
Well, I mean that
well, I hope
yeah.
not.
that's a very, very niche yet intellectual way to, a view on rap music, especially, the early
Yeah,
rap music, which I know exactly what you're
right,
talking about, which is something I always
right.
appreciated about it too, but had never
Yeah.
really put it in those terms.
Yeah.
hmm Yeah, that's
Well,
that's kind of what I loved about that early rap music. It was
Yeah.
just kind of
well, getting back to Angine de Poitrine,
Who has not yet rapped as that we know of.
not
right,
yet.
right.
I'm sure
I
that
I kind of I kind of feel like they need like either a singer or like a flute player or a saxophone player or something like that, just to add a little extra something in there, you know.
Well,
yeah.
and you're right, but that's what I like about them so much is that even though that is a true statement, they're still fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty cool. I like them.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean they could use another palette of musical color there, but still they're so
Yeah,
great. just like they
Well,
are.
they are what they are. They have their thing for now. I mean, who knows? I guess they could evolve into something else if they wanted. They're up to them. But I wanted to
Yeah.
say one last thing maybe about the microtonality. Microtonality was not invented by this group. This is actually a very ancient tradition. A lot of music coming out of the Middle East, Central Asia has good stringed instruments with microtones. Sometimes the fret placement is very unusual, and that's why when you hear some of that, Middle Eastern music, it's got some of those notes that sound like they're a little bit off, but that's intentional because that goes da 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 da, that kind of stuff.
Why
Yeah.
am I as old as I am and just having this explained to me now? I mean, Jesus. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, better late than never. But
Yeah.
if it makes you feel any better, I didn't learn about this stuff until just like last year or something. So this is new to me too. But so I started getting into these traditional songs from Central Asia and Middle East with all these microtonal stringed instruments and I've been listening to that for a while, and then I heard Angine de Poitrine, and I thought, oh, did they kind of copy that style? And here's the cool thing about Angine de Poitrine: they don't really copy that style at all. In fact, in this, Eric and I were talking about this. I think that Angine de Poitrine is really prog rock that just kind of takes the microtone concept and just pours it into prog rock or Captain Beefheart or whatever, because they have odd time signatures, but they
Mm.
have this they have they I mean, I know this sounds really really weird. I'm getting really weird now, but I think that they kind of sound like a Rush in some weird
No,
way.
you've always been really weird, so you're not just getting weird now.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it's so synced together like that. Rush would be an accurate comparison.
Yeah. I think they also have kind of like a King Crimson vibe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Lots of King Crimson. Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
and then also like talking about where we are in history, I don't know. I feel like that for when I was listening to music in the 80s, 70s and 80s, I felt like the music was a part of the time in which I lived. I was part of that. And then as the years went by, I thought it doesn't connect anymore. But suddenly when I saw Angine de Poitrine, I thought, whoa, this is music about today. And I thought, what is it about this music that is like a commentary on what it's like to be alive right now? And I thought, this kind of describes how I feel about the things that are going on in the world. I can't really explain it exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
And they
really
just
feels
without
like it.
vocals, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
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 There's
It's
something
kind of indecipherable and
weird.
hard to figure out. And yeah, it does kind of fit the times for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
go ahead, Joe.
No, I was just saying that there's something slightly menacing about them, and I feel like we're living through menacing times. So I can relate to it in that sense.
Hmm.
Well, along with microtonality, which is something that is often used to describe this music, another term that gets thrown around a lot is math rock,
Oh yeah.
which
Yeah.
which I have heard people or read it being used before, but I never really totally got what that was about. I don't really necessarily validate it as a term for music. Because I mean, where's the calculator? But what do you math rock? Like somebody
Um,
had to explain that to me what it was too.
I did a little bit of research on that, and I think that it's just kind of I think it's a label that maybe is not used in a very systematic way, but just kind of directed at somebody that is being very conceptual with their music, trying to figure out. I mean, again, they play a lot of odd time signatures. They had some of their songs have really unusual structures. They do stuff that's almost, I don't know. It maybe it's again, it's like a concept, an idea, and you just kind of
And it's well synced together as
Yeah, yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's very precise and it's very tightly synchronized. And that's, I mean, yeah, they're pretty intellectual type of operation in that sense. So
Mhm.
maybe that's where it comes from. I don't know what the, yeah.
Could be. I don't know about microtonality or math rock, but I just like to call it that stuff.
Yeah, I think math rock basically refers to just like kind of odd and different kinds of time signatures, or music with like changing time signatures, like you're going from 5/4 to 4/4 and then to 7/8 and like
Mhm.
Yeah.
and like the time signatures get so complex you have to actually start counting it. Like if you're
Yeah,
playing it, you have to like be
yeah.
counting the measures in in your head to keep
I
up
had to
with it.
learn how to do that, man, when I started playing with Davy Williams, because I mean, like, he was writing songs, with time signatures that I'd never even encountered before or considered. So,
Yeah.
luckily he was able to teach me about how to count, you know, weird time
Mhm.
signatures and stuff.
Yeah.
But before that, I was lost.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you just like your 4/4 rock, you're not going to be able to really get into Angine de Poitrine. Uh, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with next. I don't know how much they're planning to evolve or whether they even have a plan at all. I guess we'll see what happens. But it's interesting stuff for me.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
we
so
want more.
yeah, but I want to ask you guys a question like what is a good context for you to listen to Angine de Poitrine? And here's mine. I've been listening to them while I do my job. I have a computer job, doing
Mm,
stuff on the internet. And I find I can really focus on, some mundane tasks while I'm listening to it. I like it for walking when I go for a walk. It's kind of motivational music.
mm.
What
Yeah,
about you guys? When would you listen to it? What's a good context for you to listen to it?
Eric.
I I don't know if I could listen to that while I'm doing something else. It's like because when I hear it, it just kind of it's like all of my attention is on what they're playing and what they look like, and it's like it's almost like a cinematic experience.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I could have that on as background music.
Mhm.
That
Yeah,
might be kind of
it
rough.
definitely requires concentration or attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I tell you, I got a two-part answer here. The peculiar thing, a phenomenon about the whole digital music world that was ushered in,
Hmm.
is that
Mhm.
it really kind of like broke the whole concepts of albums down for me, when like my musical experience would be like loading up 36 albums in my, Winamp player and putting it on shuffle, uh, because like I could hear just about any kind of music next, and there was really so like the whole concept of under what context to listen to music, is really kind of irrelevant because it's kind of like the naked lunch approach to listening to music. Just like any random type of music could be thrown in there next, and so in that sense, I could listen to that anytime while I'm, hand washing my Lexus on a Saturday afternoon or, at the gym working out or, just in a quiet moment of contemplation. But I guess the real answer to that, the context I would listen to them would be during sex.
Why not?
Probably got to do it.
Why not, huh?
Mhm.
Okay. What about you, Eric? Oh, you already gave your context, right?
Yeah, I already gave my
Okay.
answer.
Give it
All right.
again.
No, I forgot. I don't know. My brain just had a little short circuit there. I guess I think we're all done. we're all done with Angine de Poitrine.
Forget
So,
about Barry White. I mean,
Yeah. Hey, one last thing I'd like to make here is that I was just actually turned on to this band and this band's music just in the last 2 weeks, and so I would just like to give a shout out to Mount Olive's on Renee Landingham for sending me that link to the YouTube thing. Big ups, right on. Okay, sorry.
okay.
all
All
right.
right. Okay, great. Well, thanks for your discussion on this interesting band. Talk to you later.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay.